Hey everybody,
What's up, guys?
welcome to the IronTrap podcast.
Coming to you from the past, way in the past.
Way in the past. I'm I'm hatless Matt.
Yes, that
It is a
never
real thing,
happens.
right? Kate cut my hair.
There's a hat right over there if you're feeling naked.
I know. No, Kate cut my hair, and it's like super humid and rainy today. And I like put the hat on, and I already felt like sticky, and I was like, maybe no
I
hat
was
today.
running up and down the stairs onto the mezzanine for Hershey prep, and I was like, it feels like it's 90 degrees outside
Yeah.
today. It's gross.
So gross out. And I stood in the rain this morning. I went to look at a bunch of cars and parts and stuff that we may buy some stuff from, and it was kind of raining, but with how busy we are in Carlisle and Hershey, I had to do it this morning or it was going to be 2 to 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So I figured I would go take care of it this morning, and we ended up standing in the rain talking with an old guy. And I got wet.
That's how it
So
always goes.
yeah, so um,
So how was Carlisle?
that was Carlisle. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Carlisle was great. We made a lot of money, and I bought some cool stuff for not a lot of money.
That's
Got to put it out in the universe.
yes.
It's really great.
We're filming this weeks in advance because obviously we're going for Carlisle and
Yeah.
Hershey, so
Yeah.
we gotta
There
we
was
gotta bank some.
naked hot chicks everywhere. It
Man.
was like it was
That
like
would be like there'd be a bunch of old people that would die if that happened.
Yeah.
A bunch of old dudes that have heart attacks.
yeah, maybe.
So we're putting good vibes out for Carlisle. The weather this week has been terrible. It's rained like every day,
yeah.
and it looks like it's supposed to continue into the weekend. And fingers crossed it stops there, and we get 2 weeks of sunshine.
It's this week's feels a lot. Even though I hate to complain, but I feel this week's feels like when I had a normal job and you're about ready to go to vacation, and
Yeah.
like the week before everything's going wrong, and you're already like kind of on edge because you're excited for what you're going to do. So that Carlisle and Hershey is kind of like vacation
Yes.
for us. So this week's just been like things breaking, things at the mill. We had a man lift that broke, and just difficulties with the guys that were helping me out there with, not with them specifically, just what they're working on. Things were
Not going well.
not going well, and the weather's been crappy. So I had stuff planned for us to do. We have a Swedish Anton is here. Everyone's been saying his name wrong because our accent is terrible.
Yeah.
But anyways, Anton has been here, and I had all this stuff planned for him to help me at the mill, but it's now the lift is broken and it's raining, so we're like, I feel bad because he's kind of just been hanging out.
He's polishing. We can hear it, but he's polishing hubcaps at the moment.
Yeah, so he wants to help, and we
Yes.
kind of felt bad because he's like standing around because it's all the stuff I had planned is not going as expected. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm like, can't wait for Carlisle and Hershey, but
Yeah.
we got all the stuff we need to do this
Well,
week.
we can't wait for the fun part of Carlisle and Hershey. Setup and teardown, I'm not super excited about because it's just
I'm excited because I don't have to do a damn thing this time.
you got to help
We
me set up the tent at least.
We have 2 helpers,
So-
and
So I still have to set up the tent, but you don't. I see how it is.
I write the paycheck. So
Fuck.
I got to keep these dudes. They're staying in my house for free.
That's true.
I'm paying for like
That's
room
valid.
and board for a hunt.
That's
It's like-
valid.
so somehow I have to get out of
Yeah.
the work.
Damn.
I'll probably still end up helping, but
At least get it.
at Carlisle, Hershey, I did no setup day.
Disappears.
I'm gone.
Yep.
I'm gone. We've always talked about that. We pull in. I get my bicycle out, and I'm off
He
riding
just
around.
shows up and drops shit in our way. I remember that the very first year we bought the big tent, you bought all
Yes.
that shit from Red Shaw. We're trying to set the tent up, and Matt just pulls up with a
Van
an
full
express
of
van
32.
of 32 parts and just dumps them literally right as we're trying to set the
I'm
tent
like,
up.
sorry guys, I got to go keep shopping. See ya. That was a really good year because I was like, I think before I went to see Red Shaw, I walked like 2 spaces over and bought some stuff. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember 33-4 stuff, and then it was like brought it back, and then I went over, 2 more rows and bought all that stuff from him, dropped it off, and it's like next thing you know,
I'm reading instructions, trying to figure out how to set this stupid tent up. And there's everyone bugging me because there was like 2 or 3 or 4 32 grills.
it was some pretty good stuff, and it was like dumped into space, and Mike's getting bombarded with how much, and
The
it's like-
trailer's full. I can't put it in the trailer because it's full of parts. It was a mess. But it was fun.
yeah, it's always a good time. So you
Always.
never know what you're gonna find or see. I think this year I'm actually probably more reserved than most years because the mill has been, that's my money sucks. So some years I go there locked and loaded to just buy like a crazy man even for just personal stuff, and like I'm like, I should really be reserved this year. I should only buy something if I need it for a car or it's like an insane deal.
He's still gonna buy something silly.
I'm sure I will, but not as bad as before. We're
Yeah.
just like whoosh, buying like crazy. Yeah. So my goal this time is to more just enjoy hanging out and enjoy Hershey. So we'll
Yeah, I'm
see.
excited. Hopefully the weather's good.
Yeah, it should be fun. So, but yeah, we got Anton, and then we have our viewer Dale, who helped us in Oklahoma. Dale is a super nice guy, and he kind of asked if he could do a little IronTrap working vacation. So he's gonna come and hang out for the show, and then maybe stay a week after and help at the
Just
mill a little bit,
3 weeks, right? He's coming for Carlisle and Hershey.
and then staying a week
Yeah.
after for to help out at the mill. So just very thankful that we have people like him that like what we do and
Yeah.
offer to help. So he's gonna stay with me for a little bit, and then we're gonna hang out at Hershey and Carlisle, and it's just
It's gonna be fun.
That's how I've lived my whole life. Like literally, I was talking to Anton about everything. It's like when I used to go to Europe, I had friends that I met on the internet or met one time, and then you would fly over, and I would like spend a month there and stay with them, and they'd just take me around and hang out. And I feel like now I'm not doing that as much on that end, but now I'm reciprocating many years later to all these other people.
And we did it when we first started traveling.
Yeah.
We used a bunch of favors from friends on the West Coast and all over as we were, first traveling. We were doing it on as tight of a budget as possible.
Yeah, and it does save a lot of money, but sometimes when we do it as much as we do, I feel bad because we're a lot of times we're buying stuff. We have a box truck. It's like very inconvenient. Like in this instance, these two guys are flying in.
Yep.
I pick them up at the airport. They just hang out. Probably the only biggest bummer for me this year is because I have so many people. It doesn't make sense to bring an old car out because I still would need my pickup truck. My father's also coming. So it's like, that was only a little bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. So who knows? Maybe last minute, if the weather looks amazing, I'll bring something out. But
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we don't know. So today's topic is one that we talk about a lot.
I was gonna see if you forgot already.
I did forget. Call me out on my segue. Public speaking. You have a little pause there,
Yeah.
and you actually don't know what you're going to say next, but you're
Loading. There's just a little spinny circle going on.
But it's something that we discuss a lot in our day-to-day life and our business, and also a lot of times when we go and do estates and we're driving back or traveling back, or we went to, like today I just went to look at an estate, and then you're reflecting as you're driving home, even though it was local, on like their situation and how I either like how they have things or don't, or whatever. So it's kind of like what we started with calling this topic was like, what sort of old guy collector am I going to be when I'm old?
Yeah.
But we're also kind of going to expand it into what have we learned or seen, good and bad, when we're doing a lot of these estates and going picking. I mean, out of a lot of people, we probably, more than the average person, get to experience a lot of this stuff as found, untouched. We're intimately dealing with the family or the caretaker or the executor or whatever, the lawyer. We're dealing intimately with all this stuff, so we actually get to see everything. I mean, when we shoot these videos, everyone gets to see the visual, how crazy it is or how cool it is, but we're dealing with sometimes it's sad situations, sometimes it's really cool, sometimes, we get to hear the great stories that sometimes don't even make it on camera, but
yeah, we get the full gamut of all aspects of the situation.
Yeah, and as I've gotten in the last 3 to 5 years, I feel like I've been reflecting a lot more with the business and my own collection and collecting, and trying to be very self-aware of taking little things from people that we meet and states we do, good and bad, of like, oh, I like how they did that, or I want to make sure that I do this because when I'm that, in that age, or I'm gone, I don't, whatever. So we figured we'd discuss some of that and some takeaways and things, and it'd be kind of cool. So what kind of old guy collector are you going to be?
I have no idea. I'm
ever evolving.
Yeah, ever evolving. I'm into so much different stuff. Like I've collected a million different things over the years. I'm gonna be one of those weird eclectic guys that's got a little bit of everything. Like I collect beer stuff. I have early Ford stuff. I have a bunch of nailhead speed parts. Like I think it's going to be just weird. Bunch of really good stuff in a little of everything. It's not going to be super focused on one thing.
But we've done some of these estates where like we'll see some weird little thing that's not it doesn't fit in with the other stuff, and it'll be like, what's up with that? And the guy's like, oh yeah, for like 25 years I restored Corvairs.
Yeah.
And then I just like decided I had enough of them. I sold everything and I just got that one engine left.
Yep.
And you're like, well, that's weird because you're like super into Indian motorcycles now.
It's only been like the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
That's me. I've gone through
Yeah.
many different iterations of collecting and really heavy into. Luckily, this job has kept me pretty laser focused on a few things for the most part.
But still, you probably do, you know, like you're talking about another podcast, you were going to sell some of your magazines. It's like for a minute there, you're like, oh, let me start collecting magazines. And then you're like, you know what? I don't really.
Yeah,
That's probably some of that self-aware stuff with seeing these different people where you're like, I don't even use them. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't,
exactly.
If I need them, I'll go borrow them from someone. You know,
they'll literally just sit on a shelf for 100 years, and then when I'm dead and gone, the kids will be like, "Where did these come from? They've been down here forever."
Yeah, I've never even saw Dad look at any of these.
Nate and I have paged through them a little bit together, but he loses interest.
Yeah, as he gets older.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so and we've seen that at some states that it's like a little bit of everything because they kind of went through periods of their lives where the people were really focused on whatever. I think some of it also seems to be family based. So like we oftentimes see where the guy was like we did that one with the 34 in Ohio where that nice gal was telling us about all the stuff and we're like, you know, he was really into Corvettes and then he was into that 34, but it was mainly like Corvettes for most of his life. But then there was like some Camaro stuff and some maybe even newer 80s Camaro stuff. We're like, what's up with this? And they're like, oh, well, our son restored one with his dad. And it's like, you seem like that's part of the like thing. Like I could see that with you. Like,
definitely.
If Nate took an interest in whatever, insert thing here, you'd probably get into it because of him.
Yeah. The other thing is I'm limited on space. I only have a 2-car garage at our house
right now.
So in the future, we want to get something where I have more space, and then it'll probably go off the rails substantially. But I've been I don't have the space for stuff. So I try not to buy a ton of random stuff in excess because I don't have the space.
You're pretty good at you've been good at recently, in last year's at least, at curating. So like some of the beer stuff you're like,
yeah, it was getting out of hand.
You've been like selling, even at Hershey, a lot of times you're bringing personal stuff you put on the table, and I'm like, oh, you're selling that? You're like, I got this one that's way better, and you know, so like
same with you do with the intakes. You don't have, you know, with flathead intakes or heads, you don't have every Offenhauser ever made. You just curate the really, really good, rare, hard to find intakes.
Right. Yeah, and it's like that thought process. If for some reason I had to have an Offenhauser intake, or you really wanted that one sign for whatever specific reason, you could just go find it most any day of the week and buy it back, you know, if you have to. But
I've actually been behaving myself. I haven't bought like any beer memorabilia. I'll probably buy something at every Carlisle and Hershey. I say that was that last year or the year before I bought that Hams? That was last Carlisle, I think.
I don't remember.
Bought that huge like 6-foot or 8-foot Hams. Remember that big ham sign that's in my living room? Yeah, I think I bought that at Fall Carlisle last year.
Oh, I thought you had it longer than that.
Maybe it was 2 Fall Carlisles ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, because you had it for a while because you were talking about like you were joking with your wife you're going to put it in the living room.
And then I did.
And then eventually you did, and she's fine with it now. But like at first she was like, no way.
It's just been there so long it has to stay now.
It looks awesome. I think it's cool. I need to make sure I like compliment every time I'm in there so that she knows it's cool.
She still is...
shakes her head.
Yeah. I just randomly hang stuff up and it stays there all the time. Like in our front door, when you walk in, there's like a beam that they like drywalled around. And on the other side, it's in our dining room. I hung up like a Reading beer sign that I got that's real thin, but it's like 8 foot long. And one day she was out and it was just sitting around. I was like, that would fit right there. And I just put it up with command strips. It's been there a year, I think.
She just doesn't care.
Yeah, she just gets over it at some point.
Could be worse, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's I mean, I could see that, but you're definitely doing versus some times we've gone to estates where they couldn't bear to sell anything.
Yes.
and then the stuff's just stacked on the ground.
And I've seen that with the beer stuff. You know, I was buying beer can collections, and dudes just had, they kept like every beer can they ever drank and they ever found. And it's like, I've bought like 10,000 beer cans at a shot, which is the dumbest thing ever. And it's like, the majority of them are worthless. I can understand the collecting aspect. But when you're collecting like 90s aluminum beer cans, there's not really a point to it. So it's like, I got rid of them. It's like, why am I keeping all this junk around? I can't, my whole house would be filled with beer cans.
Oh God. Yeah, that's a crazy one. The beer can collecting is
It's
like,
so wild.
and it is crazy because like, I guess why a lot of people did it was because it is cheap
Yeah.
and easy, like fun. But there's no, there's no resale value on 99%. It was
No.
like, those collections you were buying, it was like singular number of cans were really good, and then the rest was just like almost throw it in the trash.
Yep. I would buy it for one or two cans that were really good, and the rest I'd put up for like, at one point I think I sold 5,000 cans for $20.
Holy crap.
Dude, it was just
What's the math on that?
It's ridiculous. It was just like, they're in my way. Just I took the few good things, just get them out of here. And the dude was like, "Oh, this is a great deal." I'm like, if you're happy with it, I'm happy with it, man. Just give me.
We talk about it a lot. There's even, with all of this stuff, there's different levels of buying and selling and collecting.
Oh, yeah.
And that guy was okay with maybe doing the hard, long process of selling them for $1 a can or $2.
Go to Jake's with the boxes for $1 a piece.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it. I was selling really cheap stuff when I was starting out too, and I mean, I guess it's come full circle now because now I'm for fun going to the local flea market, and I'm literally selling $1, $2 items. But now I'm doing it for an excuse to drive my sedan.
Yeah,
delivery.
and you're not taking, like, when you were doing that, you were taking like huge loads of junk to sell for cheap.
Streamlined. I bring a bunch of totes or milk crates in the sedan delivery, and the goal by the end of the day is to like have like one or two totes of stuff left or nothing. Been pretty good. I think I did it last weekend with my friend Kevin, and I think I have maybe 2 totes of stuff, and I brought like 10 totes. And big stuff too I brought. Like,
that's the key, man. Just get rid of it.
Just blow it out. But
so what old guy would you...
Yeah, I've been more thoughtful I've been like super heavy on the curate thing. That's like, and even more so in buying the mill this year has really forced me to be even more so that way, mainly for monetary reasons.
Yeah.
But it's like, restoring an old building is extremely expensive and labor intensive. So it's like, having this year we sold some stuff that I never could imagine I would have sold before. Like we sold that 32 Roadster body, and I was like, really didn't want to sell it, but it's like we need to sell some stuff to help pay for this property. And I'm kind of like starting to think about it. It's like, well, I don't need in a non-hoarder way. I don't need 232 Roadsters. I have the black, Roadster Dorian, as we call it, the Dorian Roadster. That for me is it. That's my ideal 32 Roadster. Yes, there's other versions of a 32 Roadster I'd like to build, but I'm like, right now in this time, I don't need that just sitting around, so it's like we sold it, it helped with everything we did this summer with, a lot of the upgrades we did, selling that and selling some other stuff. We sold a bunch of projects. So it was like,
we sold a bunch of projects.
32 3-window in pieces we sold. It was the same idea. I'm like starting to think about it. I'm like, we go to some of these estates and the guy's got like all these projects and they're all kind of like the same car.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's cool to have 5 32 3-windows in various states of disrepair, but like it'd be kind of cool to just have one really good one.
Yep.
And if the way I started looking at it is like, if I want to build one just for fun to get something out of my system, like I probably should start with a better one.
Yeah, and I was going to say that about the 32 Roadster. We've learned over the years of doing this, we don't have the time to be starting from a pile of body panels.
Well, that one, but we sold that orangish one that would have been a great candidate.
That's true, yeah.
That one would have been a great candidate to build into something, but it was like, Yeah, all those ones that are in pieces and I'm just gathering body panels. It's like,
On top of that 32 Roadster body, you were also gathering a 32 Roadster body in a million pieces
yeah,
as
yeah, I
well.
just sold all that stuff off. So it's like trying to clear the headspace because I've been, we've met a lot of some of my favorite things, I should say, not with old guys that we've run into and we met and different stuff is I think that it also keeps you kind of not necessarily young, but like keeps your mind active and always
Yeah.
having a project to look forward to or work on or keep you busy. To me, it seems like most of the older people that we've met that are in their 80s, 90s, and are still getting around, and you're like, wow, I can't believe this guy, whatever. A lot of them are the guys that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to build this car. I mean, Winfield was the most ridiculous one I've ever met, where it's just like Gene was like in his 90s,
Yeah.
and he's still talking about the cars he's going to build, that are going to make him 150 years old. And you're like, just having that in your head that you want to do all these things and every day trying to do something, even if you're slower than you were. So I think that part, like, I definitely like that idea. Like, I always want to have project cars or projects, and I've a lot lately in the last handful of years been thinking about um, getting myself set up so when I am older and maybe I slow down with like the physical side of the business where
Yeah.
like like we're doing today, like moving engines around and getting engines running and all that side of it. Ideally, I'd like to see a point where as I get older, it's more like I'm just doing the fun side of it. I go down in the shop, I tinker on a project car for a day,
Yep.
every day, and that's it. But I want to have the tools and the shop set up in a manner which it's not so labor intensive to do everything. So we run into these estates where these old guys that like the shop is so chaotic to work in. And it's like, yeah, they got all these projects, but they probably spend a lot more time just moving junk from corner to corner.
The cabin in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was no way any work. I mean, some work was getting done,
Yeah.
but it's just like you'd have to move half the garage to get to half the stuff.
Yeah,
If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. It's a really, really crazy estate.
Yeah, it's one of the crazier ones. And as far as quantity in I wouldn't say small area, but the amount of quantity and the space of
Yeah.
the bunker underneath the cabin was insane. But yeah, like he had a fair amount of space, but it was like all the way in the back around the corner was like where the tools and a little bit of stuff was, and it's like you couldn't imagine how hard it would have been to make actual progress. Now, some people that we've met, they don't really care if the vehicle ever gets on the road.
They're just more of a collector.
They're more just like the fun of getting the stuff and tinkering, and there's really no
The mock-up phase.
yeah, there's no interest in actually making it see the road. It's just going to find the stuff, tinkering on it a little bit, but they don't really have a goal of where for me, like I need that full cycle. I want to be able to find it, find the parts, fix it, and actually put it on the road and drive it. And then because I like that cycle so much, I've been trying to evolve and learn over the years that it's like I need to start selling some of those cars when I lose interest in driving them. And that's where we're in right now. Every 3 years or so, I go through this cycle where like we look around, there's a ton of cars, and I'm like, I don't really drive that one that much.
Well, that's a good segue. It's actually, I noticed it's on my list to do this week. The Schroll Coupe is going to be going up for sale.
Yeah, that's again, because of the mill and monetarily, and also space with winter coming up, we're always thinking about space. Like, where are we going to put this car? Which car is going to go into the shop to get worked on? I'm thinking about that right after Hershey because winter sometimes can come very quickly. So I put up a bunch of cars for sale right when we were about to buy the mill, and people were surprised about some of them.
Yeah.
And I picked those cars because those were the ones that I could bear to see go. And the Schroll car has kind of hit that life cycle where we had the fun of finding it, researching the history, putting it back on the road. I've drove it a bunch, probably not as much as I would like because there's been so many other cars. But I found myself this summer, I've only really driven it to less than 10 times. We're probably...
It might even be less than 5.
Yeah, 2 to 5 times I've maybe driven it, places. And it's like, that's not great. I mean, these cars sitting and not getting driven, they start having problems, so I'm kind of thinking like, okay, well, that car, I don't know if I could see myself driving it. I'm looking on the horizon of what cars I'm hoping to finish in the next 1 to 2 years. And it's like, well, the Arden car is going to be one of my focuses this winter. And it's like, I start thinking to myself, if I'm going to walk up here to go get in a closed car, a channeled car, I'm probably going to pick the 33.3 window with an Arden because it's a way crazier, cooler car. So the stroll car is really cool. It runs good. It drives fine. It's just that, like, I don't know.
And if you say the Pagoda City Coupe, you make some refinements to and change a few things that you don't like, and those two were sitting next to them, you would probably drive the Pagoda City Coupe over that. Over, not the Arden car, over the stroll car.
No, that's a toss-up. It's probably the Pagoda City Coupe is strictly sentimental value. That's the only reason I'm keeping that car. I actually have been very close to listing it for sale for practical reasons, because I haven't even started that car this year. Like, it's getting pretty.
But that thing we put a jump pack on it, and that thing just starts. It's like the most reliable vehicle.
Yeah, it does. And so, like, I feel like that car I need to just keep because it is the start of IronTrap. That is,
and honestly, if we'd ever need space up here, that could go to the mill and live in the store.
True.
Just because people would probably enjoy
that's true.
seeing it in person.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're going to do with having the store space at the mill. Will be kind of fun that we can rotate some cars in and out like that aren't really for sale, but they're on display. But it'd just be cool to have it in there.
Can we turn that into a museum somehow for tax exemption?
I'm sure we could. Ooh. Could be a store that turns into a.
How can we make that work?
The whole mill could be a museum eventually someday.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be. But so the stroll car, I'm kind of like, finding a new caretaker that would maybe, it would be more of a focus in their collection where they'd actually maybe want to drive it, refine it even more, get used more. Where for me, it's really cool. I enjoy every time I get in it and drive it. I enjoy it, but it's just like, I don't know. So I think I've, in the last handful of years, understood that I like that life cycle. And we've had a lot of estates like that where we've gotten into where the older guy has a car and it's like, oh, he used to drive that thing all the time. And then in 1976, much like me, the kingpin bushings needed to be done. So he parked it and never touched it again. And I'm like, I'm already seeing myself how that process starts. It's like, if you don't need to sell it and you're like, I'm going to get to it someday. I'm like, I'm already starting that process. And it's like, to be self-aware enough to catch yourself in that. To not have it happen. So it's like the stroll car is a good example. Like, I probably would still drive it once a summer, but it's like, is it really worth keeping it when I'm only driving it once a summer? And then if I actually keep building cars like I'd like to, we're not going to have space up here. And then, the DeLorean car is not going anywhere. It's like some of these cars I started looking, the Merc's not going anywhere.
The delivery's probably not going anywhere.
Delivery, I don't plan on it going anywhere because it's unique. And the 32.5 window, the stroll car, it's like, it is unique for what it is. But then again, like, if I wanted to build another 32.5 window, there's a lot out there. There was a local channeled one that was for sale just, at Macungie. What was it, a year, 2 years? Summer.
Yeah, Gasket Goons last summer.
Last spring or summer, it was for sale. And it's like, I could have bought that car for, like, basically the same money that I bought that car for originally. And done the same process. I could have put it back together, put it on the road. So, like, the way I'm thinking is I could get another 32.5 window and do one of them again. And we were talking about trying to build up your collection and curate. It's like, well, that car is really cool. It has history, but it's not like famous history or anything like that. So I'm like, I could, if that car was like the cover car of Hot Rod, or it was something maybe that was even more or sentimental, maybe it was like one of my old guy friends around here actually built that car in '56 and drove it, and like, okay, maybe then I would have a sentimental reason to hold on to it. But in order to continue to do what we do, I think I would sell it. So the show car, like, yeah, that's one that I've been thinking about. And like the 38 convertible, we actually had some interest in people buying that. But for me, I haven't seen that vision through. So like I want to do a Carson top. I want to do some stuff and build a car that's a little different than what a lot of people are picking to build for customs right now. So like
You haven't fully gotten that bug out of your system, because
yeah.
if you sell that car, you're just going to want to do the same thing basically with the same car over again. Basically.
Yeah. So I'd like to see that car through. And the 38 is one of those cars. I can't say that I'm going to keep it forever, because if I see it through and I drive it, once I kind of get it where I want it to, I'm probably going to lose some interest.
And the Lincoln's the same way too.
Yeah, I kind of want to just
Get that bug out of your system.
yeah, I want to build the car. I have a vision in my head, and it would be fun to build it and put it on the road. And I don't know what point I'm going to take each of these cars to. Some of them, it's like you do the metal work and the car's just kind of still paint-wise rough, and then that's enough. That's all I want to do. Some of them, the Merc, I wanted to make it shiny and continue to drive it. So I think the 38 is one of those deals where I'd like to make it shiny, even if it's like a backyard paint job type deal. I'd like to do something like that. So that's why that one I've been sticking around. Also, that one's like I try and think of what you want to use a car for. And the 38's like, it's got a caddy engine with a 4-barrel on it. And it just starts and runs in hot weather. I can drive it. So it's like, that's kind of the nice one. That's what the Red 34 used to be like. It was the car that I could drive. If it's 95 degrees outside and I want to go somewhere, I'm not like sitting there looking at the gauge like, is it going to be okay?
Exactly.
It starts every time. There's no real secret handshake with that car. You just start it and drive it.
It's the joy of doing overhead valve with a 4-barrel. It's just like super easy to start.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. And it's not nice enough that I really care. It's cool that I can bomb around it and just do whatever.
And we put a Columbia in it this winter. It'll be like great.
Yeah. Putting a Columbia in that car will make it even more drivable on the highway, and just continue to refine the car. So I'm excited to do that. But yeah, I think just learning from these guys that like have, we
dumpster.
really no. Oh, next door.
Yeah, not ours.
I'm like, what's that sound?
Sound like someone.
You still hear him polishing.
Yes, I think it was someone closing the lid on the dumpster because they just emptied it this morning.
Our dumpster?
No, the one next door.
So now you guys get to hear our conversations every day.
Yeah.
What's up with the dumpster? But yeah, like that's one thing I've tried to learn is we see these guys that have, we've been in these buildings where the guys have 20, 30 cars, and a lot of them are like, the one in the back corner, and you're like, what's up with that car? Oh, I put that car on the road. I restored it in 1976, and I drove for a while, and now it just sits. And then it's kind of like going to shit, because that's what I could see happening with us, where it's like, I don't sell the show car, so I move it to the mill into one of the bays there, which isn't as nice of storage here.
Yes.
And then you get a mouse gets in the interior, or then there's birds shitting on it, and then the car quickly, while it stays dry, it goes to shit. And then,
And we see that all the time. I mean, we'll go in a building with a closed car and you're like, oh, this thing's sweet. And then you open it up and it's like, oh, there's been a mouse family living in it, and then the interior is destroyed and it smells like piss. And they're like,
yeah.
I haven't looked in this car in 30 years. It was really nice when I put it in here.
Yep.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, it's just not good. So I'm trying to think that way, even though I'm like, we're nowhere near that bad where it's like, we're only talking where it's like 1 year or 2 years the car's been sitting, but it's still something to think about because time flies and you don't realize that stuff's sitting around. So it's the same to be said with parts and stuff and tools. So that was one of the things I was starting to talk about, like with me looking at some of these collections we go into and these older guys, it's like the guy, I mean, I was just at a place today with a gentleman that he was saying that he used to fix welders, and he had like 50 plus welders of like MIG welders, TIG welders, all these different welders he was fixing and using for parts. And it's like you couldn't even get to some of his cars. And he's like now at the point where he's at the age where he needs to clean up. And it's like this stuff's just everywhere. And it's like, I'm not getting welders like that, but like I've been trying to upgrade my tools and think about making myself. I was just joking with someone the other day. It's like, I have the best tools and equipment of my life and the least amount of time to work on it.
Yeah.
But the tools I have make things easier and quicker, so it's actually better. You can do better work in a quicker time period. So it does pay for itself. So I'm trying to think of like upgrading all my equipment and my tools, so it is nice when you're older, you can be like, I can use my Pull Max to make a machine,
Instead
make
of
it
beating it out of bare metal by hand.
right. We get these older guys that like they never did that. They didn't get better tools. They just worked with only the butter knife and the spoon, and they're still building cars a very hard
Oh my gosh.
way.
Yeah.
So it's already hard enough work to fix these cars and work on them. So it's like if at least if I have better equipment, I can do better work. It'll be easier to do, and it's equipment that's gonna last.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
So I've been trying to get better equipment that is gonna last the rest of my life, and I'm not like, oh crap, no offense to Eastwood or Harbor Freight or any of them, but some of those tools are not made to last. I just got a Beverly shear that's a heavier duty one than Eastwood sells. And it's like my Eastwood shears always lasted, but they were never the same quality. The blades dulled much quicker.
Yeah. I mean, that shear is probably what, 60 something?
Easily 50 years old. And I would go through an Eastwood shear once every 3 or 4 years. I would have to get a new shear.
You also used them slightly outside of their capacity.
I was abusing them
Yes.
a little bit. So, yeah.
I was trying to be nice about it.
I was abusing the stuff, but and that's what a lot of this equipment is. It's like the Eastwood stuff, the Harbor Freight stuff. A lot of it is meant for
hobbyists,
and I'm probably a little outside of that realm at this point. So I'm using the equipment more than what it's kind of meant for. And if you're just restoring a car here or there, and but I'm doing a lot more than that. So that's where having the better equipment, and but I have Eastwood welders that I use like crazy, and they've been great. So I have no reason to upgrade that stuff, but I've been trying to think like, okay, well, we see these estates, and the guy's got 18 different angle grinders laying around that are all like cobbled and half work, and it's like
they all are different states of disrepair.
Yeah, and I'm like, I should just throw mine in the trash, get a better cutoff grinder or grinder or whatever, and because you find it's like these boxes of stuff, and it's the clutter, and I've been like very heavily trying to. I'm always in a state of like organization and cleaning up around the shop, and now that we bought the mill, I'm now thinking about the new building, the new pole barn next to here. It's like, okay, well, now I'm going to move some of the tools over there so that I can spread out a little more, and I can have the shop downstairs. Instead of having like 10 cars in there, we'll only have the 2 or 3 cars we're working on at that time, so that it's like you can actually spread out and work on that car. And doing the Merc was like, it was kind of a pain in the butt because I was like working on it and I was trying to stand back, and we had cars all over the place. It's like if I could have just had that was the only car in that portion of the garage, I could stand on either side of it and stand 20 feet back and see the profile. And it's like I had to spin the car around to
that was a pain in the ass.
So I've always had to do that. So now being able to spread out a little bit, it will be nice. And then also put some equipment that I've been doing without. So I haven't had a stomp shear, and I've been trying to hold out for a big stomp shear because much like the brake I have, an 8-foot brake, 1 out of 100 times do I need to use a big portion of that brake, but the times I do need it, it's worth its weight in gold. So having a stomp shear, I don't want to get a little 3-foot stomp shear, and there's like a bunch of times where I need a 4.5-foot stomp shear. So it's like I might as well try and get like something over 4 foot so I could cut a sheet, a 4x8 sheet. I don't know if I need an 8-foot shear. It's kind of
we got the space now.
When am I ever going to need to cut an 8-foot sheet long one? I'm trying to think of like on a car. When do I ever need to cut a perfectly straight line that's 8 foot long or 7 foot long? I can't think of anything that's like that. But
when you start making whole sail panels
but it's usually curved.
That's true.
They're usually cutting a shape out. The only thing I could think of is like, if you're doing a rocker or if you're doing something in the Pull Max where you need that straight edge to run it on a guide to like stamp something. And it's like, so I guess if I came across the right deal, maybe, but like.
And the other thing is, we have friends in the area that have that. Like you go to Palomino's and cut it if you really need it to.
Yeah, and I do that now. It's like
Yeah.
if I need their 8-foot press brake or their stomp or their shear, I just pay them a couple bucks, or I just go over there and they cut it for me. And it's done. And it's like, so that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. And it's just all these layers, like we're saying. That's the same idea as Mike with the magazines. It's like I have the stuff if he really wants to borrow a magazine. It's like if I need to use a shear, I can go to a friend's shop that has that big equipment and do that. And we kind of do that here, where I have friends that will come and use the shop.
The 8-foot brake is a perfect example.
Yeah, I've had a lot of times. Our friend Joe, that upholstery guy that's done a handful of the cars, he actually was hooked up. There's an old railroad in my hometown that they are actually restoring the old railroad rail cars, and then you can take rides on them. It's a tourist thing. Well, they contracted Joe to do a bunch of the bench seats, reupholster them, and he had to like restore some portion of them. The one day he came over, he's like, my son and I need to use the brake. We got like 12 pieces of 4.5-foot strips we need to bend for the seats. I'm like, here's the brake, have at it.
Yeah, here you go.
But it was so nice of them it's so nice for them. They just came to me. They used my machine. I didn't care. Joe's given me like door cardboard to use for pattern material. Yep. It's like, so everybody trades, and I love doing that. So, but yeah, looking at the tools and the shop setup and thinking about like, well, let's make this stuff good. So when I'm older,
it's not so much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's not a pain in the ass, and I have the equipment. So I'm always thinking when we're doing these estates, like I just bought a second punch that I didn't need it, but it was a good deal. But it has all like my, I think my one's a Rotex punch I have. Mm-hmm. It has a lot of the common size holes that we need to punch holes in sheet metal for, making brackets, doing whatever. It's great for that. But then we got all these extra dies, and it's like, I'd like to have some dies set up for like weird shapes. If you want to cut an oval, like a slot.
The slots is awesome.
A square hole for something where you need to punch a hole for a carriage bolt. We run into that quite often. It's like, so I'll set the other one up with some of that stuff. And yes, I won't use it that often, but there's not a good way I can cut a square hole otherwise.
Yeah.
It's like you can get an iron worker, which does some of that stuff, but then you can't as easily swap or spin. You got the changing the dies. So with this, you have a bunch of dies and you just spin around. So I bought it. I have it in the center of the shop. I won't use it a lot, but it's there.
And where we put it is dead space.
Yeah, true.
We always just pile shit right there.
Yeah.
Like all the time, there's just shit stacked right there. So, it eliminates the ability to stack shit there because now there's a tool there.
Yep.
And it saves me from walking into that sign that I walk into fucking all the time.
Low-hanging sign.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it works out. So,
one of the negatives we didn't really mention is that we see with some of these estates is people love to take cars all the way apart, multiple cars all the way apart. Yeah. And like they organize and take it all the way apart, and then they never get to the point of starting to reassemble, or they get partway through it and stop. And it's crazy to see that we'll go into places and it's like 7 cars are blown into a million pieces. And it's like, if they would have just focused on one of them, they might have gotten it to the finish line.
Yeah, and I've been trying to learn from that and not... I've gotten in a bad habit over the years. I've gotten better in the last year or two of being so excited to jump into it. And I think that's what happens. People are excited to jump into the project and start making big progress that they disassemble it. Like for me, I get into that process, and then I got all these cars that are like major projects. I'm going to, totally pull the body off the frame and do all that stuff. And you have all these cars that are like bodies off the frame, or it's, you cut the roof off and you're doing all these major projects. So like the Lincoln is a good example. Like it's just been sitting back here. We got it running and moving. And like, I really want to start working on that car, but I'm like, I have all these other cars that are in front of it. Mm-hmm. Let me focus on these cars. And the Mercury was the first winter that I've been able to do that learning, where I was like, I'm going to bring the Merc in and I'm going to focus on it.
Oh, we kind of do that every winter, because you kind of pick a car. This is the first winter you've solely dedicated the entire winter. Because like the
Well,
Schroll car, you spent a winter on. The
yeah, I guess I
DeLorean
do.
car.
I guess I do that. Yeah, but I'm like,
This was probably the most labor intensive, like
yeah,
start to finish.
but a lot of those cars are new projects. I've had that bad habit
Oh,
of
it's true.
we just got it, and you're jumping in front of all these other
They
cars.
were all literally new projects.
Yeah,
Now that I think about
I'm really bad about that. So I get excited to get a new project, and then I'm like, let's get on it. And
the Packard jumps ahead of everything this
yeah,
winter.
the Packard is a good one. I'm like, I want to do this and do this and do this, and I'm like, I I did it good with the Merc. I drove it. We mechanically went through it, and then I drove it for a few summers, stock kind of, and it's like I at least got to enjoy it. And the Packard would be a good one like that. Like fix up mechanically the stuff that's wrong with it and just drive it, and then just formulate a plan. But like these ones where you pull it in and you're like the Packard would pull it in and pull the fenders, pull the engine, do this, do that. It's like whoa, whoa, whoa. Like
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get better about the cars that have been sitting or are closer to being done.
Yeah.
You know, you push and do that. So that's why the Mercury, I didn't go and do everything I'd like to do to it. I did enough to make a big change, make the car exciting to drive again, and then I'll do some more changes down the road. But right now, I can just get in and go. It's really cool to bring it out places because everybody that's seen the car before is like, you know, excited to see it. Moon's snoring.
He's growling. He's
he's
dreaming, yeah. Get a moon. Get a moon.
So like we see that all too often where the cars are taken apart or and it's kind of sad because sometimes we see these cars that were pretty good cars or was a complete car and they took it apart and they never got it going, and it's just like, man, if they would have left it alone till they were ready to work on it, if they didn't get to it, the car would have been worth more. We see that with these estates where you're just like, this was a rust-free original car and he took it apart and they stripped all the paint, and you're like, that car, I would love to give you way more money for this car if you wouldn't have touched it. So like that's how some of these cars are. I'm like, if I cut the roof off a car and do all these modifications and I die, nobody but me really is going to want to take that car that far. So somebody's going to be buying it for no money, for parts essentially. So it's like try and focus and do that stuff, the cars when you're doing the big part on it. At least do the big push to get it to driving or get it to the major change. And I think most of the times when we see that, it's the people that they want to do the like from zero all the way to perfect car. And that's like years and years of work.
The 39 convertible is a perfect example of that. I mean, he took it from zero all the way to a nice, perfect car, and I don't think he ever really drove it at all.
Yeah, we were looking through the photos, and he started on that car in like 82 or 83 or something like that is when he found the car and started on it. It's like, so
40,
my whole life, I was
40 years.
Plus years. Yeah, he was working on that car, and the gentleman basically, his last days were underneath that car working on it, which we also talk about as kind of cool as far as, if anything, to be able to work up until the end of your life on a project. Like there's something to be said about not withering away in a retirement home or assisted living.
Yeah.
He was working on
what he loved
all the way till the end. And any of these guys that, that are doing that, if you're able to be in a situation where your health keeps you to being able to do things you love till the end, maybe we didn't know that gentleman. So maybe he never did plan to drive it. It was just his goal was to go out every day, do a little more work on the car. But it is a little sad because we see the car and it was like,
pretty decent,
90% done. If you're able-bodied, a month's worth of work, you would probably have that thing like 100%.
Yeah.
And a little bit of money. So I try to think about it that way. I'm like, at least if I get the car together, the 38, it's like, it's a little ugly, but at least I've been able to drive and enjoy it the past 2 summers.
And I was having that mental block with my car. I wanted to fix all the stuff, and I'm just way happier that we just made it run and drive, and I've been driving.
The amount of fun you had this summer in half a summer in it.
And just like we didn't mention it, but last weekend I lost the keys to my car at my son's baseball game. Like, it was just funny that I was just like, I'll just hotwire it and just drive it.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just hotwired right now. I can just hook the battery up and drive it right now if I want to. Just it's way more fun than stressing over making it all perfect to take it out. People enjoy it. People enjoy old cars no matter how they look.
Yeah.
Like I get thumbs up and like all the time I stop at Wawa, people are like asking questions. It would be the same thing if it was really nice.
Translation: Wawa is a gas station.
Oh yeah.
It is a gas station on steroids. It's only in our region.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, if you're not from the
Go
Pennsylvania,
Birds.
yeah, go Birds.
Go Birds.
So it's like people would stop if it was a super nice car or if
Yep.
it's a giant piece of junk. So it's like it's more fun to get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah. So it's yeah, and that's like you're getting to use it, enjoy it, and the memories that you're making with like your son and
Yeah.
you know everything like just you posted that photo of taking him to the end of the
Yeah, what was that, last Friday I put him on the bus with the car,
So,
yeah.
like that's the cool stuff that like the people that take the car all the way apart and want to make it all the way to perfect, they miss all those moments. And it's like, yes, your car may not ever be as nice as what these people were hoping for, but I'd rather have what you have than never getting to the finish line.
Exactly.
So I
mean, how many of these estates have we done where they probably never really drove anything? Maybe they drove it once when they bought it. They pulled it in and tore it apart, and they never really drove an old car again.
I would say
A vast majority of them.
90% of these estates we do that are like tons of parts and tons of cars, I'd say 90% of them, they either never got to drive said project car, or some of them are as bad as they've never even driven. Like maybe they drove a Model A when they were like a teenager or a young man, but like they have all these cars and all these projects and they've never, like they haven't driven an old car since they were like 20,
Yeah.
or 18. And it's like to think about you spent the majority of your life in a hobby and you never got to drive the old car. Like
It's kind of sad.
It's kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
I think about that a lot with the projects. And I'm like, how sad it is with a lot of these estates that we go to. And the family's just like, it's one of the somber things that they're like, we're talking and there's like the family's getting visibly upset. Like they never got to, see their dream or whatever. And it's like, I think about that and I'm like, man, how sad it would be if I talked about my whole life chopping my Mercury and I never got it done.
Yeah. Or you cut the roof off and just never did anything with it.
Never worked with it.
Yeah.
They never finished it. And it's like, that's how you see all those steps, how they could happen because we see the full cycle of it. It's like, I see myself where I'm like, I could easily have gotten caught in that, that cycle. It's easy to get distracted. So that's why you have to have those hard conversations with yourself. Where you're like, you know what? Let's just sell it, or I don't need another XYZ. So I don't want to be that old guy. I think I want to be the old guy that has the super cool collection with the like curated stuff and some really cool cars that like are his, because we meet these old guys that have the signature cars. It's like you see that a lot. Ronnie Roadster is a good example of a guy like that that's had his Roadster that we know. I'm just thinking of people that we know that's like, Ronnie has that Roadster that he's had for so many years. It's like him. That car and him are, that's his identity. So like Pete, he's had that convertible for a super long time. And everybody knows him by that convertible because he's driven it to the Street Ride Nationals for so many years and blah, blah, blah. So it's like having those cars your whole life and they got to enjoy them for all these years. And those are two people that we know that like when we talk to them and they tell us their stories, it's like the car wasn't nice the first day. They drove it, they fixed it up, and we know there's a local guy. I'm actually trying to get with him to do a display at the Boyertown Museum, but he has a 47 coupe that's customized that he's had since like the 60s or something. It was in the little books originally.
Oh, okay.
And he has a 32 Roadster that's a channeled, has like the drawer knob pulls in the grill and stuff. And it's like those two cars are super unique. And anytime I go to an event, they're his cars. And he has two nice cars. He doesn't have 17 cars.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys we talk about, they have like 2 to 4 cars. And then they have a project they're maybe working on. But it's like, that would be cool to be that old guy. You walk in. That's what I always envisioned this upstairs to be when I built this. It was like, I want to curate it, and you have my Mercury, you have the Arden car, you have the Dorian Roadster, you have these cars that free T.
Yep.
You know, these cars laid out that are my cars that I built or found or whatever. And I don't need 1332 Roadsters here that are all kind of the same.
Yeah.
Like I don't need that. But you have all these kick-ass cars. So like that's why the curating is like you're always upgrading, making better, and it's like then you're trying to. I think it makes it more fun too with the hobby because like some of these guys we run into, they buy. They keep everything they find. My only exception is the Stromberg thing. I'm a little excessive with that. But like
just a little.
But you see these guys that they just buy we've done these estates. Was it the Mad Scientist? Where it was like every 39 anything he could get his hands on, he would buy. It didn't matter if it was good or bad or junk. He had like, a lot of these estates will find they have like 50 of the same ashtray, and some of them are literally like not even worth saving. We'd like throw them in the trash. And it's like just that obsession with buying every single one you can find. I don't really get that. I'm kind of like upgrading, and I'm like, I'm going to have the one NOS one that's on the wall that's really cool, that's either for display or the perfect car, and then you have maybe like a good usable one, so if the one in my car breaks or something happens.
You have 139. You don't need 17 ashtrays when the ashtray in your car is also nice.
Perfect.
It's like you keep one NOS spare, but you don't need rotten, falling apart 39 ashtrays. It doesn't make any sense.
And I've been trying to be better even with like some of the stuff. Like gauges is a really easy one to like collecting different gauges, and then somehow I end up with like 12 of the same Speedo, and I'm like, I just want to put like one set of these gauges together, and maybe I'll keep a spare Speedo in case we need it for parts. But like, I don't need 7. Let's sell the other ones so that I can continue to curate the collection. So
gauges can get out of hand pretty quick.
I was looking through my gauges. I actually once a year I kind of go through my gauges, but I'm like
some stuff out.
I'm like looking through, and I think I do have like there's one speedometer that I have like 5 of the same one, and I'm like, what am I? I don't even know why I have them. And it's like the cabinet's like getting so full, you're like just throwing stuff in.
It's on top of.
Yeah, and it's, steering wheels. We see these estates where guys get really into like banjo steering wheels or Lincoln Lucite wheels. And they have like 100 of these steering wheels, and a bunch of them are not even usable. And it's like...
Strombergs are,
I think...
Do you have a bunch of it that aren't usable?
Not many. Yeah.
I have to also ask a question. Once that cabinet's full, what are you going to do?
I think that's it. I think that's the idea. Fill all those cubbies and then curate.
Okay.
Because if that's for whatever weird reason, that cabinet is perfect for...
Are you going to take all the other shit off the other shelves?
No, I think just the small cubbies.
Oh, okay.
Because they're like perfect.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be cool to fill all those cubbies, and then I'll curate them.
It's a chrome. It's all chrome Strombergs.
So then hopefully when I'm 92,
oh my gosh,
people walk in here and there's like 600 chrome Strombergs.
Because what do we count? There's like 250 or something like that.
I counted the other week. There's way more than that.
It's so ridiculous.
350 or more Strombergs. Yeah, I was counting also like ones bolted on intakes. I didn't count on cars either, though, like running cars.
I mean, every car has Strombergs on it.
So
someone the other day, like last week, I was playing tour guide. There was a bunch of people that stopped and visited. And some guy was like, dude, look at all these Strombergs. And I was like, they're on every intake that's mounted flat also. Like, all the ones around the room all have Strombergs on them. He's like, oh, holy shit. I was like, they're also on all of the cars. He's like, oh, my God. I'm like, there's a lot.
But that's like the fun... That's like a fun thing to collect and put up, but I don't have like what we run into at estates is they're being displayed and enjoyed. I don't have like totes and totes and totes of Stromberg carburetors that like are getting water rained in them and like stuff like, so they're curated, they're on a shelf.
I was just busting your balls.
No, I know, but like that's the way I think through this stuff. Like if I ever get to a point where there's freaking 5-gallon buckets of Strombergs sitting out catching rain, like that's when the stuff's getting wrecked. Like, so that's my thought. You get to a point where, I can curate them. Now, in our defense, my defense, it does take I tell people this a lot. It takes multiple Strombergs to make a good one a lot of times. So
3 to 5 to make one good one. So.
Yeah. So like, if you're putting a 2 or 3 carb intake together, it might take 6 or 7 carbs to make 3 good carbs.
Yeah.
So like, I'd hate to start selling a bunch of them and then I need them. And there's often times where we also have helped out friends where a friend comes and he goes, putting the carbs together, I didn't realize my inlet is cracked. Do you have anything? And I'm like, well, go upstairs here and I'll give sell or give a friend an inlet, And my buddy Nick was over 2 nights ago. We were hanging out and he was looking for those spark plug ends like I have on the Pagoda City Coupe. They're like Bakelite 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I roll my car. I'd really like to put some. I sold my set of those years ago and I'd like to get a set back. We went in I have drawers of like cool spark plug ends. And I found like 5 or 6 of them for him. And he's like, oh, sweet. I only need to find like a couple of them. And I just gave them to him. It's like, that's the idea. Like, I have a lot of stuff, but it's like, if someone needs it and it's something like that, or the Strombergs, if a friend needed a carburetor, I would certainly help them out.
You just did it the other week with my car. We had to change the base out.
Yeah.
And we found something was wrong with the body too. I can't remember. We just changed the whole carb out.
Yeah. It's like, sure. That's why we have them. I'd hate to sell this stuff and not have it for our own, because we are into this for a hobby. So I'd hate to have that instance where you got rid of everything.
Yeah.
So I think some people go so far to the other end where they don't want clutter, they don't want extra stuff, and it's like, well, if you still are planning to build cars or you have these cars, I mean, what's 1 or 2 spare carburetors laying around in case you need them? Why get rid of everything?
Yeah.
I don't get that. But so some people go all the way to the other end, but I want to be the old guy where it's like curated. You have some of the best stuff. The other good part I love, and that's what I love when we go to some of these collections around the country where the people are living, and whether we can buy stuff from them or we can't, they always have these great stories about all the stuff in there. And that's how I feel with how everything's curated. It's like almost everything in my stuff upstairs, downstairs, I can put it a sign. I can put it. Now, Strombergs are different because they're not unique.
My wife's calling me 4 times now. If you want to wrap up, I'll be right back. See you guys.
Uh-oh.
Make sure it's not an emergency.
Yeah, let's hope it. So I think that having the stuff where you can tell a story about each of those pieces, I think is what's important. So being able to go through and remember every single one of these items and you could tell the story. So I want to be like that. I love that when we take the tours with the old guys and they're basically like, they're telling you everything has a story and they're telling you this epic adventure of how they found it, or, I got it in the trunk of a car. I found it in a junkyard, all this different stuff. So it'd be fun to be that old guy. Everything okay?
Everything's okay. Crisis averted.
Jesus. She needed to get a hold of you.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd like to be. I was saying that we do these tours of different guys' collections and stuff in their garages over the years, and it's like really fun.
Oh,
100%. To hear the tour guide thing when they're telling all those stories and
that was me last week. I was telling stories because a bunch of guys brought their wives, and they'd be like, "This is that car. Tell her the story about how you found it." So it's like the storytelling process of how we found the car and all that stuff. It's enjoyable to be on the other end of it a lot of times.
Yeah. So like, I think when you think about what type of old guy or collector do you want to be, like that's the part that's really neat when we travel the country, being able to go to these collections and we get to see this. Like, I don't need to buy something every time I go to see a person's collection. It's like, I'm happy to go and hear their stories and see something cool or unique. So I want to be able to, we already do that. Luckily with us, we have a lot of people come through here to visit. We already do that. So it's like, it'll be fun to be that old guy when people come by and you just sit around here and, you let people wander around and just go, yeah, that sign came from here. Or that, that cool steering wheel in that car was X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So like when you get to the point of collecting so much that the stuff's just thrown in barrels and boxes and drawers and you can't see it, it's like you don't even know you have it anymore. So I'm trying not to get to that point. Like now the boring stuff, steering boxes, brakes, like I do have a bunch of that's packed away, but that's not like, that's just the necessary stuff to build these cars, but if there's like a super cool drop axle That's why they're hung up downstairs, because they're necessary, but they're also cool. And we put them on the wall. But I don't keep every drop axle. Like, we just sold that chrome. It was aftermarket, but it was a
Yeah.
nice chrome axle. And people were like, I can't believe you're selling that. I'm like, well, I had it in the corner, and I was like, it's a newer, modern axle. I like chasing the old Moore drops and Dagos and different axles like that. So I'm like, sell that one. I'll keep
Yeah.
these ones. Any car that's really neat, I'm going to put some kind of cool, vintage drop axle on. So that's the type of old guy I want to be, is to
Yeah.
have the cool collection of stuff that's curated. It's really neat that we have the mill now, and we're thinking forward of building putting together a retail space or a store. We can take some of these items that are overflow that I've been stashing away that no one's been able to see, and now we can put them on display there.
Yep.
The additional Ford signs I have, and the Shell sign, and some of the memorabilia that we have, and stuff like that. It's like, now we can put that stuff on display, and people can get to enjoy it. So, and we could tell the stories.
Yeah.
So that's the type of old guy, that collector that we want to be.
Yes.
So, organized, cool stuff.
Organized is the big thing.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty organized.
Yeah,
I'm
you are.
I'm getting better all the time. So even down to nuts and bolts.
Yes.
I'm trying to get to that point. So that's where, that's where we're trying to be.
Yeah,
So,
and I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but we'd mentioned the Cabin in the Woods video today. Actually, we put out part 2, where we helped Cabin Fever pull some of the cars out.
oh yeah,
So head to YouTube. If you haven't seen it, check that part 2 out. They should be getting the library of the first auction together soon. So hopefully there's a date that'll be posted soon. So keep an eye out for that.
some killer stuff.
I'm very excited.
It's with heavy heart that we have to bid against everybody else,
Yes.
because I there's some stuff I really want. I may have to step up for one or two things to, stuff that we saw that I really would like to own. Would be really neat. So some of that stuff, it's just, that guy had a great eye. So it's like, and now that person, that gentleman, if we would have been able to, our friend Pete actually knew the guy very well, and I wish I would have gotten to know him, because imagine the stories, like, every single piece on the wall, everything there.
Oh my goodness.
He had to know and be like, oh, Hershey 82 in the mud, I bought that, sign. Or
These
whatever.
pumps came from this gas station down
Yeah.
the street. When they redid it, I bought them.
And that's the part that we were really, really sad. And I guess it's the last thing I'm going to leave this conversation on. That was a situation where we were kind of sad because his legacy is lost. He didn't care or think about who was going to be the one to disperse his stuff and would appreciate his stuff.
Yeah.
So it's great that Cabin Fever got it. We're happy because they're our friends, and of any auction company, that's who we would love to see disperse the stuff, because we want to see our friends succeed. But in the other part, the way that we do these estates, where we shoot these videos and we try and tell the story of the person that collected it, it would have been great if he would have at least called a friend, like our friend Pete or somebody, that would have been able to help make sure the right person was dispersing the stuff. And whether it went to an auction, the auction, our friends that did the Cabin Fever, they went in there not even knowing who this gentleman was. I
Yeah.
just remember hearing Pete talk about him, and when we heard the last name and we saw the stuff, I realized it was this gentleman, and I called Pete, and our friend Pete didn't even know that his friend had passed away.
Yeah.
And it's like, he didn't really make any future arrangements for what happens to his stuff. So he passed away. His wife got everything. She had no attachment to any of the stuff. They didn't have kids. The stuff just went to their caregiver. So like, a caregiver who is 3 times removed from it is the one that's the executor, and they're nice people. Like, they weren't just, obviously they weren't, you all right, Moon? They weren't just putting the stuff in the dumpster.
Yeah.
They were thoughtful enough to call an auction company to disperse the stuff. But it would have been nice if the stuff, they could have celebrated his legacy and the stories. If we could have met him, or anyone could have met him ahead of time and talked to him and learned about the stuff, it could have been dispersed in a manner in which it could have been enjoyed.
Definitely.
We could have even filmed a video with him, and before he passed away, even if his wishes were Cabin Fever Auction Company auctions all my stuff, it would have been nice to be able to do that video with him still alive and get all
Yes.
those stories. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's not the selfish reason that we wanted to be the ones to disperse it. being able to tell the stories of all those pieces, because now it's all lost. He's gone. Our friend Pete knows about a couple of the things, but he doesn't know about a lot of it or doesn't remember.
Yeah.
So it's like, if he would have been around to tell the story that could have been, told down the line, and his story of, like, I think he was a drag racer, and he ran a well-known drag car in this area, but we don't know any of that. I'm getting this story,
Twice removed.
Yeah, twice removed. So it's like, it would have been nice to do that. So, like, if you're follow our podcast or follow our videos, we have a lot of older people that follow our stuff. Just, if you're going to do anything, just make sure that the legacy and the story of your stuff gets told, that your kids know that, like, it isn't just stuff.
Yeah.
Like, let them know. Even, it's not that you need to call a YouTuber to shoot a video. Like, we like when we do these estates and the son knows the whole story about the stuff and dad's gone, but he's telling the story.
Yeah.
And if we're buying the car or whoever's buying the stuff, we now have that story and documentation, and it gets to live on. So their legacy of that car or that part gets to be told down the line. And I think that's very, very important. So we don't want the sad situation of what happened in that state where they had no kids, no one knew it.
Yeah.
He didn't even tell his friends. Like, when he got sick, he wasn't like, he called his friends and said, hey, I'm not doing well. We've heard that before, where, like, they call their friend and say, hey, I'm not doing well. I just want to make sure that my stuff doesn't get thrown away or,
yeah.
Whatever. And, a good friend like Pete would have been a person he could have called, and Pete would have been made sure that the story was told.
Yes.
So that's it.
On top of that, also legally make sure your stuff gets dispersed in a correct manner, because sometimes people die with no family,
no will, no anything,
and it goes to the state, and sometimes it's handled correctly, and other times things just get thrown away.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that on a storytelling side and a legal side that your stuff gets dispersed in a decent manner, not just thrown away and forgotten.
Yeah. That's where we struggle with a lot of that stuff when we've been into some states where there's just some weird stuff or legal stuff that's going on, where we're like, we've actually backed off, because it's like there's people trying to money grab, and they're trying to sell stuff out the back door, all these weird ways, and it's like, if you handle your stuff and make sure that the right people are handling it, and the right people are getting your stuff, whether they're buying it or inheriting it, that are going to appreciate it, are notified, and it's hard to have those conversations, but, like, I know that some of our close friends that are older, they all have it figured out. And it's like, not being morbid, but, like, our friends are like, you know what? When I go, this son's getting that car, or they've had that hard conversation with their family about their collection.
Yeah.
That, okay, well, all this stuff, this auctioneer is going to handle it, or this person's going to help the family. So with us, we have a lot of older friends that, like, it's not that we're going to buy all of their stuff. We're going to help the family sell the stuff, or at least educate them on what the stuff's worth.
Yes.
And advise them. So if you have, it's the tough part of our business, because we do run a business. We have to buy in a manner that we make money. But in some of these situations, I've outright told some of our friends that are older, like, they're like, I want you to buy all my stuff when I'm gone. I'm like, actually, I'd prefer not to buy it. I'd rather just help your wife or your kids sell it. I don't, either we do a consignment deal, or we just advise them on what sometimes it's best to just sell the cars, sell the high-end stuff, and then the rest of it, just send it to an auction. We don't, we won't even be involved, but we want to at least be able to point around and say, that thing he always kept under the shelf there, that's where it
good,
is.
Yeah.
And our friend Pete, he's told us many stories about different estates he's done where he knew the gentleman, and he's like, he's educating a family. He's like, up on that shelf there's a Kong distributor that he's had sitting there forever. Just so you know that it's there. I don't want to buy it. I'm just letting you know.
That's good.
And that's good. And it's like, you should let your friends know. We've had some people that are like these estates where the guy's super secretive and he doesn't tell anyone anything, to the point of where he's gone, nobody knows.
Yeah.
And then we walk into these estates and they're like, I don't know anything about anything. And it's like, that's where it's scary, because there could be things hidden that are really good. And if you just have a clean out company come in, or an auctioneer, or somebody like us, I mean, we've had things on the good side for us. We go to an estate, we buy everything, It's on pallets. It's packed away. Then we're going through it way after the deal is done, and we find some treasure. I mean, it's fantastic for us because we bought everything.
Yeah.
And we can't, I mean, we legally bought all the items. So we can't, every time we find a better item than what we knew was in that estate, we can't go back and be like, here's 50 more bucks because we found an extra
X, Y, and
Kong
Z.
distributor. So it's like you need to make sure that that stuff, you've gone through it or you realize it so that it's, or sometimes they don't care. People are just like, in the instance with this cabin in the woods, they're literally just dispersing the stuff. The executor or whoever's going to get all this money, so they're just going to sell the property, sell the stuff, and they're just going to get cash. And it's great for them.
Yeah.
They're making out, but for us, it's like it's the sentimental side. I'm sure there's some pieces of, there's probably some items in that guy's collection that like friends that are still living would have loved to be able to buy and not have to buy at auction, or inherit or whatever. So take care of your shit.
Yes.
Make sure your shit's handled.
Yes.
None of us are going to live forever.
Don't come to us for legal advice. We're just telling you. You should legally get it figured out.
Yeah, you should legally, and even just the conversation stuff.
Yeah.
Joking aside, like even like Kate and I jokingly discuss this stuff, and she knows what's good. My stuff's easier.
Yeah.
You like if it's upstairs here, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows, even though she's not super into it, she knows the stuff that's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've had that conversation of like, she knows that my Arden car, like that's a thing. She knows, she's picked up on that. But there's sometimes where the spouse or the family's so far removed, they don't know the junk from the good.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's like insane stuff mixed in. And like, I mean, again, if the family doesn't care, then it is what it is. I mean, we've been in the states where the family literally doesn't care. And they're like, get this trash out of here. I don't really care what I have to pay, what you're paying us. This property's worth $1.5 million.
Yeah, just get it all out.
Just get it out of here. It's like once they have that conversation with us, it's like, okay, well,
sounds good.
Sounds good. We'll get it out, but I'm just making sure that you're, whatever. So handle your shit.
Yes.
That's the thing. So thank you guys for listening.
We'll see you guys at Hershey.
We'll see you at Hershey. Come by. Tell us what you bought. We want to hear if you bought something awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Let us know. I won't be at the booth much, but Thursday, I will try and be hanging out the booth at least the second half of the day. So if you come in the booth and are crying because I'm not there the whole time, I'm out enjoying the hobby.
Yes.
It's not an autograph signing. Unless you got a hot daughter that's my age group.
Yeah.
You want me to meet? Kate doesn't listen to the podcast, so I can say.
She's definitely not making it an hour and 10 minutes in.
No. So thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.